circumstances?
Well, first of all, my message is a universal message of hope and faith. To overcome anything is the greatest hope that we can have. And my expectation of life is joy beyond circumstances. So it doesn't matter whether you have a job or not. It doesn't matter if you have an education or not. First of all, you have to know the value of you as a person, as an individual. You're irreplaceable. Your value goes beyond the materialistic things or what you can do or cannot do. That's the first thing. The second thing is purpose. And so we all need to reach our full potential. Now, I understand that I was born in Australia and I had a wheelchair. Many people don't have wheelchairs. But now we have a non-profit organization. We've given $750,000 away to people in need, orphanages and hospitals and schools, and helping people. And I've now met 30 people with no arms and no legs to help them go to school and help encourage their countries to embrace them. And not only do we give out wheelchairs, but it's also understanding that the people in the wheelchairs need also courage to go out and try new things as well. It's not just making excuses as well of, what's not there and what is there. What can we do? Mm-hmm. So my message really is universal for everyone, especially able-bodied people where we have disabilities of the heart. Mm-hmm. We have disabilities of fear, and we need courage to overcome all adversity and love one another. And as a nation, it takes time. It takes time for society to change and develop. But really, it begins and ends with hope and believing in oneself.
How?
Especially when you get up in front of the youth and it's very difficult to get their attention. I remember when I was at school, a speaker came on stage and you wonder, well, what is he going to say? What is he going to tell me that I don't know? Because as a teenager, you believe you already know everything. Yet you see a man without arms and legs smiling and it gets your curiosity. And so I don't believe that it's necessarily just how I look different. If it's just the fact that famous speakers are drawn because of how they look, then there are many speakers then who are not famous, but they are. And so it's not about how they look, it's their message. And that's what I think, content and how you present things. And I'm not anyone as far as a better person than anyone. I'm just like anyone else. It's not about Nick Vujicic and his strength. It's about a message of hope that everyone can receive and apply in their life, no matter what socioeconomic status they're in or disabilities they have. Well, everybody's going through something. We're all going through something, just my pain is a bit more visible than yours or somebody else. When that clicked, it was like a light bulb when, just flashed in my brain. I'm like, hey, now life I see as an opportunity. This circumstance, there's got to be something good. What I'm trying to do is basically, as we go around the world, we want to inspire change, but put love into action. And so change that you want to see in a nation, it starts with you, it starts with me, it starts with everyone. But everything starts with the vision. It starts with the dream. And sometimes it needs to be communicated that it's okay to dream a big dream. Honestly, I've been to countries where they actually kill children with disabilities. They bury them alive because of cultural beliefs. So I've seen the extremes of disability and integration and acceptance. And I really do believe for change. And we've seen fruit in the last 10 years of me traveling 55 countries around the world. And so that's why I continue to do what we do, because we have seen change and attraction of wanting to see a change. So that's where I really want everyone to understand, again, not just the value of themselves, but the fruit of their actions and the words, that we should love each other, not divide, not judge, not gossip, because we don't know who's going through something very, very difficult at home. Maybe they're being sexually abused and you just have nothing else to do but to tease them because you're cool. No, it's not cool. And so that's the message and values that we're bringing into the education system around the world, to say that's not okay. Just because it's been culturally acceptable until now, it doesn't mean it should continue. Listen, what I've realized in my life is that every single human being has value. And there is a thing in the human spirit that I find my faith in God, in understanding that I need to be compassionate upon every single person. There were many people who judged me for how I looked at school, and you might think it was mean that people teased me, but they did tease me, and it brought me to an attempted suicide as well at age 10. And what I realized was even the people who were teasing me, they all had different differences, and I could actually tease them about how they look. But I didn't want to do that because it doesn't solve anything. They're still a human soul, and they're still on their search for their purpose and their life and the choices that they make. And so if someone doesn't want to be my friend because of how I look, That's their problem. But what the beautiful thing about inspiration and hope, real hope, is that it can overcome all things. And you'll see a lot of inspirational speakers out there who have sometimes even behind the scenes motives and difficult to know why they're doing what they're doing. But you can tell if a message is true, if you can see the speaker is authentic. And hope is the most important thing. And if there's anything I can communicate to anyone is never give up and dream big, because you don't know your limits yet. And really talk about hope is in my personal way. And so when I have a hope that actually conquers death itself, I can actually say that hope never dies. And that's the only way I have joy and peace and I have strength no matter what. To have a limitless life, it needs to also conquer death. So believing in heaven and believing that, you know, some of these young kids with no arms and no legs are now going to believe that God has a plan and that heaven is real, and they're going to come up to me and hug me with their new arms in heaven. I've seen hope. I've seen power. I've actually seen miracles. I've seen blind people seeing, deaf people hearing, lame people walking. I've actually seen miracles. I have a pair of shoes in my closet just in case God gives me arms and legs miraculously. So I have a hope that's real, a hope that never dies. And that is when you bring in that faith. And so I can only talk about hope then in my own personal way, but you're absolutely, first of all, God is a father to the fatherless. He has not left you. He loves you. And then go see how you can also be a light or happiness or joy to someone else. And that sounds ridiculous, but it's not. You know, I've met many people who feel like they have no purpose, but now they go to the hospitals. For one example, with the kids who have cancer and they haven't smiled or laughed for a very, very long time, and they go there and they dress up funny and they bring music and they make them laugh and they help them forget about the pain for that day and relieves the parents. Basically, there is nothing on this earth that I, first of all, feel like I need to experience or have. I don't care. I'm content. My treasure is not here. My treasure is in my faith and my family. The biggest thing that I have that I want more of is quality time with my family. So as I travel around the world and I have 35,000 invitations for me to speak and I receive 100 every single week, it's difficult to not be there. And so last year my wife traveled with me 65% of the time, and now she's pregnant with the second boy, and so she can't come with me with our 2-year-old as well. And so, but how do I overcome that? With planning. Really, basically, we have a next 3-year plan to transition me, and we hope to have some new developments. Some I can talk about, some I cannot talk about. Some developments that basically will enable me to share my story and an ongoing inspiration from TV, and basically not having to travel as much.
Well, Nick.